What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and being accurate is one of the most important things to me. I absolutely hate being wrong, which is why when I am wrong, not just, oh, you don't like my opinion or something like that, but no, when I actually legitimately did get something wrong, I have to say, I got that wrong. And that's one of the reasons I'm making this video today. In a video that I made a few days ago, I was talking about DC comic book sales and specifically about the gay Superman comic book and its sales. Now, I misinterpreted something that I read and I was wrong 100%. And I'm going to go over what I was wrong about in this video. However, it's not quite that simple because the person who wrote that book, Tom Taylor, put a very lengthy Twitter post out, which is why I was alerted to this in the first place. But for some reason, even though Tom Taylor is very defensive about the sales of this book while claiming they're incredible, he leaves out a lot of key details, including some context. So why don't we just get right into this? This is the tweet I sent out today. And again, like I said, when I'm actually factually wrong about something, I'll say, you know what, I got that wrong, whether it's a prediction, like whatever it may be. And I thought it was important to get this out there. So I said this, when I'm wrong, I'll own it. And that's what I have to do now. This thread got sent to me this morning. And as much as I dislike Tom Taylor and some of what he's written in the past few years, I can see that he's right about the inaccuracy of this story on Superman, son of Kal-El. Again, we've talked a lot about this. This is Jonathan Kent, Superman's son, who is now Superman in this comic book run. And all of a sudden he gets revealed, oh, he's gay, with a big kiss with a pink-haired weirdo on the front cover, I believe issue 5. But anyway, let's continue on. The reason the 6th issue didn't appear in the top 50 for December was because it hadn't released yet, so we didn't have any hard numbers for the sales, but I'm sure we'll all be paying attention to the January numbers when they come out. And this is the last thing in Tom Taylor's thread. We're gonna go through his thread, don't worry. When I'm wrong, provably false, not just because you don't agree with my take. I'll admit it. There's nothing I hate more in the world than being wrong, but in this case, it happened. I'll be putting a video out later today talking about it so all my subscribers can see this too. So that's what I'm doing. Now, that video that I made, although I really did think that the December sales reflected issue 6, and it did not, the sentiments of my video I still wholeheartedly stand by because it was more than just about issue 6. It was about the December sales in general and the fact that if it doesn't have Batman attached to it, it is not selling right now for DC. It was a very pathetic December in terms of DC's representation in the comic book top 50. And it's true that Superman, son of Kal-El, number 6 is not on here. When you go back to November, they got a big boost after making a big thing and all the mainstream media praising them for Superman being gay, how progressive that is. It got all the way up to number 6. And that was after, when they announced it in October, it got bumped up to number 44 in that issue number 4. Now in December, there's no Superman, son of Kal-El here because issue 6 did not release until January. And Tom Taylor, you know, he points this out in this very long Twitter thread saying, look, everyone's lying about the results. He used my thumbnail in here, all of these things. One of the things that Tom Taylor unfortunately fails to mention is, yes, it's correct. Superman, son of Kal-El, number 6 did not come out. However, something did. Something did. It's Superman, son of Kal-El, the annual. And you can even see if you go to comic book by dollars, down at number 45 is Superman, son of Kal-El, annual number 1. So annuals are not necessarily an apples to apples comparison. You can even look at something like, say, the Batman, right? Because Batman had an annual. Even though Batman had the number 1 selling, the number 1 selling comic book, the annual for Batman was all the way down at number 13. So it's not necessarily blow by blow, apples to apples comparison. However, sometimes like in Nightwing, we have an annual that outperforms the regularly scheduled release of a comic book. And not once in Tom Taylor's thread does he talk about that. This is all about the fact that some people interpreted it as the issue 6 instead of the annual. I was one of those people. I thought it was the issue 6, so I have to, mea culpa. I thought that was the case. But some people didn't. And he's calling out other people in this thread that understood exactly what was going on, specifically Bounded into Comics. I think this one right here. Okay, accurate physical Comic book sales to stores are hard to come by, but some good sites do report estimates. Sometimes they're close, sometimes they're off by a lot. But I'm sorry to say this is true, and so many are reporting Superman number 6 didn't sell well in December. Well, Bounding Into Comics responded, appropriately so. Tom Taylor didn't read the article like people aren't reading his Superman books. There's no mention of issue 6 in the article. There is mention of the annual, which came out in December, though. And that is 100% true. Bounding Into Comics in their article covered this. Now, I know a lot of people made videos about it. I didn't watch everyone's videos. I don't know exactly what everyone talked about. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about what I did. I thought they were talking about 6 because I misinterpreted a different article. But credit where credit's due, Bounding Into Comics talked about this. If I scroll all the way down so I can see the cover of the annual right here. ICV2's most recent dataset for December reveals it was a one-time gimmick, as the book did not show up in the top 50 chart while looking at total units. Superman Son of Kal-El annual did place 45th on the top 50 comic book by dollars chart for the month. And that's an important thing as well. When you have an annual, which is usually priced a couple dollars higher, it's going to rank higher in the dollars than it is in the overall physical sales. That's just something that makes sense. So in all likelihood, you know, if you're just projecting and guessing, you could probably say that Superman Son of Kal-El annual number 1 was probably around the 60th to 70th best-selling comic. You can't just discount that. You can't just discount the fact that this book then goes from number 6 overall to the next time something attached to that brand comes out, it falls all the way off the charts completely. I know it's an annual, not necessarily an apples to apples comparison, like I've said, but there is a comparison to be made there. And the fact that Tom Taylor, while calling out so many other people, because he's sensitive, like there is no doubt, look at this thread. Not only did he go through and screenshot a bunch of tweets and articles and thumbnails, including my own, this is like a 10, 12 tweet thread from Tom Taylor. He's obviously very sensitive about something. If the sales were as good as he's trying to pass off, would that really be true? And also, if he knows the sales numbers, if he's saying, oh, it's really tough to come by, why doesn't he just release them? I'm sure he knows. I'm sure he has the inside information on how much this is selling, not estimates, not aggregate websites. But no, Tom Taylor's not putting that out. And again, Bounding Into Comics calls him out on that. If the sales are so good, why doesn't Tom just tell us what they are? That's a question that I do not think Tom Taylor has answered, and I doubt he will. And there's probably a reason why he won't. At the end of the day, you have Tom Taylor who is going full out damage control over this for some reason, really clinging on to this fact that a couple people were talking about the number 6 instead of the annual. But he doesn't mention the annual at all, even though a lot of people that he criticized were directly referencing the low sales of that. Superman Son of Kal-El in November comes out, number 6 on the sales. Right? We haven't seen number 6 yet. Superman Son of Kal-El number 6, that came out in January. Who knows what those will be? I'm sure we'll talk about them when we do get those numbers for sure. But they're also in there. Tom Taylor fails to mention you have an annual. You don't mention it because it did terribly sales-wise. That's not a good thing. That is trending downward, especially from where it was before. You can't just pretend this narrative doesn't exist. Now, I was wrong again about the specifics regarding which issues, and I own up to that. That's why I'm making this video. But at the same time, Tom Taylor, if you're going to do this, you're going to have a whole tweet thread calling a bunch of people out for this. Don't you think you should give them all the information? Don't you think you should talk about that annual that sold terribly? I think you probably should. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. Let me know if you think that like Tom Taylor is trying to push out there that this is really just a good thing for sales overall. Turning a character gay is just going to be great at the end of the day for sales long term and for the health of DC Comics. Let me know in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.